On August 21st, 2015, my life changed as I once knew it. We had a great day planned with our 2 boys and 4 of their friends to go to the Little League World Series. As we were driving to the Little League World Series, I noticed a lump on my right thigh. In my mind, I already knew that this was not good. We enjoyed our day with the boys. The next day, we were at a friend's house and I was telling them about my lump on my leg. They immediately told me to go to the ER. After we went to 2 ERs, I was told that I had a mass in my right thigh along with a blood clot and it needed to be biopsied. We left the ER, walked into adult oncology. I must tell you, I was very overwhelmed. I was already preparing myself to hear the word cancer.
I can remember sitting in the consult room with the surgeon after Tracey's biopsy and him telling me, we won't know for 100% sure till all the tests are in, but he's pretty sure from his experience that it's cancer. My initial thought was, how am I gonna tell my wife she has cancer? Then I was thinking, how am I gonna tell my children she has cancer?
After my biopsy, I knew by the look on my husband's face and his bloodshot eyes that it was serious. He told me that the doctor had told him that the way that it looked and acted, it was a sarcoma. I never heard this before. Looking back, the next few weeks were a complete blur. I had to go home and tell my 2 boys that their mother had cancer. This was by far the hardest conversation I had to have in my life. Hearing the word cancer, it's hard not to associate it with death. Cancer affected our family 7 years ago and it took my father's life.
My wife and children are everything to me. Tracey is an excellent mother and a wonderful wife. She's the kids' go-to, our family coordinator, my best friend, the love of my life. It's been very difficult to hear the news that she has cancer. It's a feeling that I don't think I'll ever shake.
We still did not have a plan. More testing needed to be done to determine what type of sarcoma I had. Years ago, my friend, Pastor Vinnie Murray, told me if I ever needed him, he was only a phone call away. That morning, his name came to my mind, and I called him, told him what was going on, and asked him to come pray with me. I told him I had to be at my appointment in 45 minutes. He dropped everything and came to pray with me. After we prayed, he asked me if we would join him that Sunday at his church, Faith Church.
Having to watch Tracey go through weeks of chemotherapy, being in the hospital for a week each time, and then radiation 5 days a week for 5 weeks, and now planning surgery, it's been difficult. I tell her all the time, I wish I could trade places with her. It's hard not to let your mind take you to dark places. There's times we break down together, and there's other times I find myself alone with the tears rolling down my face.
The moment we walked into church, we already felt like we were part of this family. Everybody was so welcoming with their hugs and support. That day, Pastor Doug's message was, whatever fear you have, baggage you have, addiction, put it onto God's shoulders. God wants you to put whatever is bothering you on his shoulders. As Pastor Doug was speaking, I looked up to the cross in Faith Church and prayed to God that he would take my fear from me and fill me with strength to start this fight.
This is where I found God tapping me on the shoulder and saying, remember me? He also blessed us with a friend who called and said, hey, you guys need to get to UPenn Hospital for treatment. Another blessing has been our great family and friends who've been right there beside us through this difficult journey.
I was told that my sarcoma was a synovial sarcoma and was very rare. At University of Penn, there was a team of doctors in place and a sarcoma center. I finally had a plan in place. I was told I would need 18 weeks of chemotherapy, radiation, and then surgery. With the chemotherapy, I was going to have to be hospitalized 6 different times for 5 days at a shot. I had to go home and talk to our boys about the chemotherapy process. I also explained to them this was an investment in my life. In days to come, a saying came over me: breathe in strength, exhale fear and sadness. This was not coincidental. This was already God working. We've always believed in God, but coming to Faith Church, we renewed our belief.
The Fortress Ministry at Faith Church is going to do many great things for people. Tracey and I have been blessed to have lots of support through this process, but I can only imagine how some people might struggle who don't have the support. Finding Faith Church and renewing our faith in the Lord has been the final piece for us to overcome the struggle we're in. The Fortress Ministry is going to be just as important to some people as finding the right doctors to overcome this battle they're in.